Rafael on our Facebook group was wondering whether you could create a mega menu with Thrive Architect and Thrive Theme Builder like the one showing up on screen. One in which you have 4 columns, for which 3 of them are standard with regular sub-items, and the 4th one featuring a single resource or link with a distinct layout from the other columns. Yes, you can, with a little bit of creativity and imagination. So without further ado, let's just jump into WordPress and start building.
All right, folks, so I'm logged into WordPress, okay? Actually, you're looking at the thrivethemes.com website because I did want to show you the mega menu that we have up and running on our site right now. So if I hover over our menu, you can probably see how the mega menu design is kind of actually very similar to that of what Rafael was asking for, right? So Rafael was looking to design something like this, where we have, let me squish this down. But essentially we have a 4-column layout. And this 4th column is a little different than the other 3, right? Because we have a different background color. It's all one single menu item, if you will. Whereas in these 3 columns, it seems like we have 2 different rows. And in fact, we do, right? We have 3 columns with 2 rows inside of them. Whereas in this 4th column, we simply have, well, you know, a bunch of different things piled up, but it's one menu item, it's 1 column. So I think that for the sake of this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to design this functionality from thrivethemes.com, where we have a 3-column layout and then a 3rd column inside that 3-column layout that is a little different from the other 2. Just because we're going to be able to hover and actually see all of these different things, I think it makes more sense to try and design something that we can actually test. So with that said, back into WordPress, I'm going to navigate over into Thrive Dashboard, and I'm going to jump inside Global Components, which is where I typically like creating new headers and footers. You could, technically speaking, create a new header or footer from an active page, but I think it's just better to try and do this from here. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new header, and I shall call this actually, let's pick out, we're going to start from scratch. Yeah, let's just go ahead and start from scratch. That way you can see how I design everything from a completely blank canvas. And we're just going to call this Tony's Mega Menu. Set the new header. And let's just wait for Thrive Architect to finish up loading. Perfect. Here, we're going to drop in, and we probably want to do this as if we were designing a new section on our page. So in this case, we're going to drop in a new background section, and we're going to center things vertically speaking to the center. Inside our background section, we're going to drop in a content box. This is, casual hierarchy of designing with Thrive. Background section, content box, and now, watch this, we're going to drop in a custom menu. It's going to be of type Mega Menu because we want to make sure it expands once we hover over some of these menu items. And we're going to create a new custom menu for this particular menu. And let's just go ahead and find a good looking template that we can work with. Probably maybe 14 could be nice. Let's do number 14. Perfect. So this is what our current menu actually looks like right now. If we expand, I think I made my window a little too small. But anyways, let's just start working. We can probably do this. Let's actually get rid of some of these menu items. So let's jump over into menu items. I'm going to get rid of nav 1. And maybe if I make this a little wider, there, that's better. Okay. I've paused the recording and just made the window a little bigger because otherwise it was going to turn out a little clunky for you guys in order to be able to follow along. So let's just take a look at what we have right now. We have a mega menu for which when we hover over nav item number 2, we have all of these different menu items, right? We've got a first column. Let me actually draw this out. Oops, I don't know if I can. Well, anyways, you can probably follow along, right? We've got this first column here, this second column, third column, and fourth column. And if we hover over nav items 3 and 4, nothing happens because we don't have any submenu items. Makes sense. Perfect. So in order to replicate what Thrive has going on, let's actually call this resources, and we're going to have a section for learn and one for help and support. So let's go ahead and do resources. And then here we're going to have help. Was it help and support? It was, learn and help and support. So we're going to do learn, and here we're going to do help and support. And we don't need the fourth column. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of item main 4. And now if I hover over, we only have 3 columns, which is great. And for help and support, we want to get super picky. I'm actually going to just pause the recording and bring over these menu items, okay? So about us, blog, customer success stories. So here we would have about us, blog, customer success stories. And I'm going to continue to fill out the other ones. Okay, so here's what I've got going on. We have resources, and then underneath resources, I've got learn, I've got help and support. And then for the third column, here's where it gets a little special, right? Because here the layout changes. We've got latest release, discover the newest product and feature updates, an image, and a call to action to view more. So here's what we're going to do. First things first, I need to find a way of grabbing this image, which I'm going to do just by inspecting the code. Excellent. And now that I've grabbed the image, here is what we are going to do. We're going to treat each individual item inside this third column as a different menu item, okay? What that means is that I know that in your mind, you're probably thinking, okay, well, Thrive Themes has somehow managed to figure out how to stick one individual menu item that is different from the other ones. But what this really is a bunch of different menu items that all point to the same place. In fact, this text element doesn't even point anywhere because I can't click on it. So it's simply behaving as a regular text element. But this first menu item points to the same place as this picture and as this call to action to view more. And each of these different things is actually a menu item, just like these ones, except the layout changes a little bit. So how are we going to do this? First things first, I'm going to get rid of the background color here. So that way we can actually make this feel like the real menu from Thrive Themes. And I think we need a little bit of shadow. Let's make this actually a bit darker. Excellent. Yeah, that's better. Probably want a little bit of rounded borders here. Yeah, that's much better. Perfect. And here's what's going to happen, okay? So if I were to treat each of these different menu items, which they are, right? I mean, if we go inside our simple mega menu, main options, menu items, you can see how inside main number 3, I have item 1, which is here, item 2, item 3, item 4, and then here I've got main 3, item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. So it's important for you to understand that right now Thrive Architect is treating each individual menu item as one class. Okay, these items all share the same design class, the same CSS class, which means that if I were to change the color of this heading, it's going to change it for, that was for the icon color, right? So it changed the icon color for all menu items. It changed it for that one, for this one. And you can see how it's now black. And this is going to be a problem because we want this third column to be different, right? And this is why this little icon with a lock allows us to essentially treat each different menu item as a different class, or we can tell Thrive Architect, hey, I don't want you to apply the CSS changes that I'm about to apply to this menu item to the entire class. So what we're going to do is, first things first, let's actually make the changes that we do want to make sure that get carried over to the entire class. For example, I don't want these headings to be blue. So I'm going to jump over into typography and I'm just going to make them black. And you can see how all of those headings have now turned black. Perfect. And now what I can probably do is tell Thrive Architect as well, hey, for these top level items, I actually don't want an icon and a text. I simply want a text. And for these ones, we're only going to do text. And now it's starting to look a lot more like the one that Thrive Themes has, right? Text, no icons, excellent. So now we can jump over into this third column and tell Thrive Architect, hey, this first main three, we are actually going to call this, what does Thrive call it? It calls it latest release. Latest release. Okay, so this one, it's just simply going to be a string of text. Okay, and now watch this, because for item number 1, this is where it gets a little tricky, because here is where we start, we start deviating from just using menu items, okay? So what Thrive Themes and what we're actually doing is we're using the menu description, the drop-down menu description. So if you select in the breadcrumbs drop-down column, you can toggle the menu description option, and that will allow you to actually insert some text. So we can just grab and copy the text from thrivethemes.com, stick it in there, and you have discover the newest product and future updates. And I think I just want to get rid of this menu item. Great. And this is what we've got so far. We've got our latest release heading. Now watch this, because this is also important. For the heading, can you tell how this one is actually, the text is aligned to the center? And for these other columns, the text is actually left justified. Let's do the same thing here. We're going to tell Thrive Architect, hey, for this piece of heading, we're going to not apply the changes to the entire class. And instead, we're going to center the text only for this particular menu item. And since we've locked this menu item, those changes, whatever changes we make to this menu item, are not going to be applied to the other headings. And we can probably do a little bit of margin as well. Let's do 24. Excellent. And I think we can now jump over into the image. And this is another interesting one. So for the image, we're going to select item number 2. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to do display image only. This is important. See the mistake that I just made? Let's go back to text only. And since I forgot to select the lock icon, I didn't click on the lock icon, all of the changes were being applied to my entire class, to every menu item. And so in that case, I want to make sure I hit the lock icon. And now if I do display image only, now I'm free to pick out an image for this particular menu item. I'm going to pick this one, which is the one that we're using on our site. And we can probably make it a little wider. Maybe give it some rounded borders. Let's do 8 pixels. And how are we doing? Oh, we don't actually have rounded borders. So let's go to main options. And let's just make it a little wider. Maybe taller. All right, and we can probably add to this menu item a little bit of top margin as well. Excellent. And now we can simply have one more menu item where we're going to have an icon and some text. Excellent. So we're not going to need item number 4. Menu item. simple mega menu, we can get rid of item number 4. And we've got our drop-down description, menu item number 2, which is going to be our image. And then we've got menu item number 3, which is going to be, what does it say? It says view more. Excellent. So let's do view more. And important, we gotta click the lock icon, and we're gonna tell Thrive Architect, hey, I want you to display an icon and text. We're gonna change the icon, and we're gonna look for something like an arrow pointing in diagonal, if possible. Let's just look for arrow, and we're gonna use, if not, I can just grab something like, there's probably here you go. We've got arrows pointing downwards and diagonal. I'm looking for one that points upwards. This one is the one that I'm looking for. Excellent. View more. And for this menu item, we can probably add some more margin. Maybe not that much. Let's actually do 12 pixels. And I think I want to apply to this particular column a little bit more of, maybe not just to that column, but maybe to all columns, some padding on the sides. And watch this. We're going to get rid of all of the borders for all columns. But for this particular column, we're going to click the lock icon, and we're going to give a little bit of border to the left-hand border. So we're going to add a little bit of color to this one particular border. Let's make it a very light tone of gray. Apply. Excellent. And I think I just need a little bit of more padding for this particular column. That doesn't look too bad, does it? This is how the one from Thrive looks like. And this is how ours looks like. Not bad. And I'm going to pull up just Rafael's example here. Yeah, his is pretty much the same, except you've got different background colors for some columns, which you can absolutely do. We could, instead of giving this column a border, we could just change the background color. That would be absolutely fine. And make it a light green. And that would make it stand out. Oops. There you go. So yeah, this is how you sort of do this type of layout for mega menus. It kind of looks really clean. I'm not going to lie. I kind of really like it. It's not terribly complicated, is it?
As you can see, designing this kind of menu is not impossible. There are just these small little things here and there, like ensuring you're only customizing an individual column and targeting a specific menu item and not the entire class, that you need to be aware of. But it's doable, it's not terribly complicated, and yeah, it's just one more example of the type of great things that you can build with Thrive Suite. So if you need more example of the types of things you can actually build with Thrive Suite on WordPress, there is a link in the description box that you can click on to learn more. And yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if that's the case, just drop a like button. You can feel free to subscribe if you're interested in web design, WordPress, those types of things, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks again. Bye.